my privilege to turn the program over to the City of Peekskill and to Mayor Vivian McKenzie. 7 years ago, I moved to Peekskill, and I came up a few weeks before I was moving into my house because my youngest daughter, I have 4 daughters, but my youngest daughter was going to have to go to school up here, and I wanted her to at least have a little look around Peekskill, drive past her school, drive past the house kind of creepy to see what's going on so that she could acclimate to the area. And as we were driving through, we saw Kathleen's tea room. And I thought that would be something that my daughter would really love. So we went in. Unfortunately, by the time we got there, it was already closing. But Vivian was there, and she was the first person to welcome me into this city. So I'm super excited that at this point, 7 years later, I have the honor of introducing to all of you who already know her, Mayor Vivian McKenzie.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our beautiful Central Firehouse Station. We're very glad that you're here today. We have some exciting news coming from the City of Peekskill, and all of our staff is here that's going to lead you through what the city is doing. But right now, I'd like to introduce you to our council. So we have Deputy Mayor Patricia Riley, Councilwoman Kathy Talbot. I was supposed to push a button. Councilman Ramon Fernandez. I'm laughing because I was supposed to push the button. Councilman Dwight Douglas, who I don't think is here today, Councilman Rob Scott, and Councilman Brian Fassett. We all know Peekskill, and we all know that there's a lot of stuff going on in the city of Peekskill. Our downtown revitalization that has been here for a very long time is now up and moving. You'll see work coming to Pugsley Park, coming to Monument Park, as well as our broadband. We have things that will be going on from our waterfront up to the main part of town, and then also working on our gazebo area and that portion of the downtown. So those things are in movement and coming through, and I'm sure our department heads are going to talk some about that. We'll talk a little bit about our waterfront, which is, as we all know, I think George and I had a battle about this, who has the best waterfront. But we'll share it with Cortland, but I'm going to say that Peekskill has the best waterfront. We are currently working on our Fleischman Pier, so that project is going to be coming to fruition, so there's a lot coming to the waterfront that you'll see. Again, just pictures of the waterfront, maintaining it and keeping it as beautiful as we can. All kudos to our staff. DPW works very, very hard. Chris, thank you very much, and all your staff. Our community is very important. You will see in our city manager's report about what we're doing to keep our city moving forward. It's not just about festivals, but it's about the day-to-day quality of life that we have in the city and how all of our departments within the city are working together to make this the best city that we can. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our city manager, Matt Alexander.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning to all of you. We're so excited. I think there's more than 100 people here, actually, and thank you for coming to the City of Peekskill, and we're so excited to be talking to you today. My name is Matt Alexander. I am celebrating my 1-year anniversary as city manager, both acting and as city manager. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview of sort of where we are and what we plan to do in 2023. Since 2017, the City of Peekskill has averaged a 2.7% increase in its tax levy, while total expenditures have increased about 2% on average, yet its unassigned and total fund balances have been increasing 54% and 10% on average, while bonds and notes payables have been decreasing by almost 6%. So we've been using this time, and one of the reasons, of course, that we've had this turn of events is because of the effect of the pandemic. So during the years 2020 to 2022, the city council drastically reduced staff and expenditures in an effort to control costs during a time of uncertainty, and we used the time to plan, save, and readjust to weather an uncertain future. But now the city in 2023 can contemplate leaving its safe harbor to modestly expand its labor force. This will enable us to take care of our many projects as well as maintain city facilities. So our 2023 strategy is based on our financial ability, adequate reserves, and public input, which guided our priorities. Of course, we're doing all of this in 2023, which has turned out to be not the exciting rebound time, but a time of many mixed economic signals. So we're still facing 47% increases in construction costs, interest rate increases, inflation, housing shortage, labor shortage, but there are yet, during this time, there's signs of returning bullish markets, peeking through, and continued spending. So to cautiously get back on track, we have to assess where are we and where do Peekskill residents want to go. So we first did an assessment just of basic things like population. So everybody knows Peekskill is growing rapidly. We're almost at 26,000 people in 4 square miles. A diverse community, and a community that celebrates its diversity and actually attracts more people to come and live in Peekskill because of its diversity. Our businesses are no less diverse. So we used artificial intelligence to gather from marketing sources information about our business stock, and we're going to be corroborating that through a series of surveys to find out what businesses want. But just to give you a sense, here's our diversity in a pie chart. It's unbelievable what the city offers, and the city is still a place where people make things. Manufacturing exists and is alive here. What's most interesting is that hospitality has usurped the government's place as the #1 provider of employment in the city of Peekskill. So we have over 100 food establishments, and Matt will talk to you a little bit more about that. But the top 10 items carry 50%, and then there are 50 categories in the bottom 50%, and it's spread pretty evenly at that point. So we're already looking at projects that we had before the pandemic, and we will continue to work on those, of course. That was a commitment that we made. How are we going to do that? The city has a highly qualified management and staff team. I tried to find a picture of all of us, and we're going to get one tomorrow. But this is a good representative, I think, of our management. And so we are up to the challenge, but we wanted to get public input. So this summer, we did a general survey. We got 1,100 responses to it. We did a youth needs assessment survey in 2023, and we're still waiting to get an analysis of that. That should be coming soon. We did an inventory of the businesses, which you just saw. And of course, we've had public hearings about all kinds of topics. But the general survey said, #1, clean up the litter. So stabilize property taxes, increase business and employment opportunities, increase affordable housing ability, promote environment, clean energy, and youth services were all most important. So when we asked them to sort of pick how they prioritize them, upgrading infrastructure, #1, and you see the rest in this list. So then we asked a general question of just tell us anything you want to tell us. #1, again, came out as too much litter, make Peekskill more walkable. Those were 2 constants, along with infrastructure, more code enforcement, and improved quality of life. So the city management and staff have been working on efforts to create a good, solid team, which there already was a very good team in place. But we know that in order to achieve these goals that we had to work together. So we brought first of all, we brought a quality of life committee together, and I want to say that this model existed in the city before, so for many years, planning, the code enforcement, the corporation council have been meeting about projects. It's a great model. So we brought this group together to fight litter and annoying unsightly
Today
problems.
we're together to discuss the quality of life committee that we are all on. And as opposed to just my agency or DPW trying to deal with them on our own, we have this committee together to try to use all our resources with the city.
One of the things that the DPW has focused on, particularly before the colder months have come, are the crosswalks. We've identified particular pedestrian roadways and pathways that we wanted to focus on, particularly around the schools, with the use of a brand new striping machine, which is a thermoplastic striping machine that the guys have gotten proper training on, and there was an opportunity for staff to develop more skills and more staff to learn how to use the equipment.
So in the building department, we have focused on the complaints that we've seen an increase on litter, trash, sanitation, overgrowth throughout the city. Working with DPW and the police department, we've increased our patrols. We've went out and focused on early in the morning, evening hours, on the weekends, just to make the city cleaner.
The committee's been great to work with everybody. That way I'm always there to answer questions. They can always reach out to me, but when we sit together as a team in a meeting, certain issues come up just from listening to them talk. I could sometimes provide some advice. We talk about ways how to tweak the code maybe down the road so that everyone can do their job more effectively, more easily, more streamlined.
So one of the most exciting things about sitting in on these meetings is the way our staff works well with each other to make sure that things get done. We challenge each other, we congratulate each other, and we support each other. And I think that we have achieved some great beginning goals for 2022 and into 2023. There's more work to do, of course, but there always is, and this is part of maintaining a commitment to maintaining this city. One of the things that is done is, as Chris mentioned before, he brought up new equipment that actually has been come about as a result of his own team meetings with his own team. The water department did the same thing, and they actually purchased, if you see to the right here, a hydrovac. It got started being used in the end of 2022, and the city, like all older cities, has water main issues. And when a water main goes bad in one location, it often would cause a much larger shutdown. So this would limit the number of places that get affected by that shutdown. And that idea actually came from one of our own water staff in team meetings. So a safety department has been put together as well.
We are the members of the City of Peekskill Safety Committee. We cover a wide variety of aspects related to safety, one of them being the safety of our residents. What issues are facing our residents, what can we do as a city to be better prepared and better protect our residents.
From the HR perspective, the focus is to promote and maintain a culture of safety so we can put systems in place to ensure we reduce the likelihood of anything major happening.
So within the DPW, we are looking at the safety of the city residents, not only the city residents, but our DPW employees. It might be an excavation in the street, it might be a street closure, and it's also the infrastructure that we have as far as pedestrian signals, traffic signals.
So on the financial end of it, it's really looking at what risks exist out there and what situations have taken place in the past that create potential liability and ways to mitigate that moving forward.
So some of the aspects I bring to the committee is, one, my over 20 years of law enforcement experience, but I also have experience with the Office of Emergency Management. I also have a different aspect of looking at the way some of our ideas and thoughts may affect others.
From my experience in local government, we tend to operate in silos. Having a committee facilitates having that regular focus on the calendar, and we're solution-oriented people, I believe, and it plays to our strength.
It gives us all an idea of how we're all looking at the same problem and how we can come to a solution together.
So this has been a great thing to come out of this, and mainly it's been a big help to me because I constantly remember that I can't, but we can, and the city of Peekskill together can accomplish its goals and make great changes throughout the city. So a community hub was put together, and that is with our recreation department, our youth bureau, as well as our senior group.
It's a collaboration between the seniors, the Youth Bureau, and Parks and Recreation to provide meaningful activities and experiences for the public.
I believe that it's an opportunity to enhance the work that we've already been doing together. Like Jonathan. Jonathan and I have been able to do 2 senior citizen proms together. That was something that we didn't even know how it could turn out so amazing. Kathy's also one of our youth board members, so it's really easy to work with her.
We collaborate really well together. She brings kids over to the Kylie Youth Center to do programming there with our staff, and we work together on the movies that we do in the summer and just different programs. Jonathan and I have been talking about doing a senior swim program this summer at the pool.
This is the first time that I've actually had an opportunity to work with someone in our senior department as well as another youth department. So I think that this is going to be really great for Peekskill.
The needs and the expectations for city residents are evolving. As more people move in, as residents age in place longer, as youth become more engaged in the community, they need resources, and it's our responsibility to provide those in a very unique and positive way.
I love the fact that our city manager has put all of us together to work and enhance opportunities for our youth as well as for our seniors.
Between each other really strong and make sure that they get us talking to each other, and exactly as Joanna said, get us out of our silos if we're in one, and get us down on the street talking together about how we can change here in Peekskill things that need to be changed. So we're looking at ways of motivating employees, building strengths, identifying weaknesses, talking about them openly, fueling teamwork. And we've got a really good training program that Joanna has worked very hard on, and it's getting our employees together for regular talks. We have an open door policy about what's going on with our employees. So I think we are training for expectations and putting policies and procedures in place based on that, and increasing camaraderie, and I think attaining better results. So I have great hope for Peekskill and know that we can do great things this next year with this amazing staff that we have. So the 2023 city strategy is to prioritize resources and staff to ensure completion of existing projects, plan for and implement new projects that fit with city vision for revitalization. But most importantly, I think one of the things that we really had to get back to post-pandemic is taking care of what's going on that's wrong out of there. So maintaining what we have, and in that effort we've been putting people out on the street, getting them to clean up Peekskill, and working with people about their new great ideas for the city, and I think great things have been coming from that. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up Jean Friedman from the planning department, who's got lots of great stories to tell you about what else has been going on with Peekskill and what her great department has been doing for us. Jean?
Good morning, everybody. It's great to see everybody here this morning. I'd like to give you an update on the public and private development projects in Peekskill since our presentation we gave here last year. I'll start with the public DRI projects. They're off to a very, very good start. So for the Downtown Civic Hub project, the city hired a consultant to design a new public gathering space to replace the outdated gazebo and plaza area and enhance the public space around the flagpole. The consultant is also analyzing the feasibility of expanding the sidewalk between the Chamber of Commerce building and the Ford Piano building on South Division Street to create a public space that connects Restaurant Row with the Paramount Theater and Esther Street. An advisory committee of Peekskill residents and business owners have met to fine-tune the designs. Layouts will be presented to the Common Council at a public meeting this coming Monday night and at a public workshop in the next few weeks. Next is the connectivity project that is designed to make the connection between the waterfront and downtown more appealing to pedestrians and cyclists. The design creates a two-way bike lane from the train station to downtown via South Water Street and Central Avenue. The project will provide better lighting and safer crossings for pedestrians, and it will include new public art to add interest to the route. The new design for Pugsley Park will create a great lawn for events, performances, and picnics, while maintaining the park's historic character and tall shade trees. New landscaping, lighting, seating, and electrical service will be included. The Monument Park project will add new pathways, landscaping, lighting, and electric service to this important community green space. The improvements will complement the ceremonies that are held here annually and will create a beautiful year-round gateway into downtown by illuminating the historic monuments. Improvements to these two downtown parks are expected to begin this summer. At the waterfront, the reconstruction of Fleischman Pier and Charles Point Park improvements are underway. The new pier will be a little longer than the current pier at 487 feet long and much broader at 11 feet wide. It will accommodate large tour boats as well as 2 floating docks for smaller transient boats and a kayak launch. Viewing devices and benches will also be installed, and the pier will be open to the public for fishing and crabbing. The parking lot will be expanded, the pathway to the pier will be regraded for accessibility, and a public restroom will be constructed. The piles that support the pier have been installed, and the decking and railings on the pier are under construction. Improvements to the park are scheduled to begin in April, and demolition of the old pier will be completed this September and October. Efforts will be made to provide the public with safe access to the waterfront trail during construction, which is expected to be completed by the fall of this year. So we're all looking forward to that because it's a great asset for the city. That's also the pier under construction when they were driving the piles into the water. That's all been completed. And there was restrictions on the time frame from the state of when that could happen for environmental and ecological reasons. Private entities were also the recipient of DRI funding. The Paramount Hudson Valley Arts nonprofit will renovate the Paramount Theater's historic facade and marquee and improve the performance space with upgrades to lighting and sound equipment, and flexible seating will allow for more diverse programming. Paramount Hudson Valley Arts will also launch a new Peekskill Arts Center, including both exhibit and production space in downtown Peekskill. They are conducting environmental testing and moving through the state's approval process prior to construction. The renovation of the Kylie Youth Center is an exciting public-private partnership involving the Peekskill Housing Authority, the Boys and Girls Club, and Westchester County. The Kylie Center will be a new location for the Boys and Girls Club of Northern Westchester and receive a full renovation with additional space. The county has increased its allocation of funding and is currently working with the Housing Authority and the Boys and Girls Club to finalize the financing so that work can begin. The Museum of Contemporary Art is leading a 3-part Enlighten Peekskill strategy to bring new public art to the downtown and waterfront business districts. This is a rendering of the 5 murals representing elements of nature that will be installed on the Route 9 arches at Requa and South Streets. The murals were designed by Peekskill artists Christine Knowlton and Candace Winter. MoCA has awarded 5 artists the opportunities to install illuminated sculptures at selected sites between the train station and the downtown gazebo. This is one of the chosen sculptures. These innovative illuminated pieces will enhance the connection between the waterfront and downtown, making for a more pleasant journey during the day and also after dark. Designs and locations for a series of 13 banners and murals will be announced soon by the Peekskill Arts Alliance to be displayed on buildings and in public spaces in the DRI area. These murals will engage residents and visitors in a unique cultural and historical experience, increase foot traffic and tourism, and improve the attractiveness of downtown. So we'll be looking forward to seeing the new images of the banners and murals. This map shows the locations of 8 businesses in the DRI area that were chosen as the recipients of the Downtown Revitalization Fund. Environmental and architectural consultants are being solicited to evaluate the environmental effects of each project, to prepare construction documents, and to obtain city approvals before contractors are hired by the recipients. The project on the left is located at the corner of Hudson Avenue and South Water Street in the Waterfront District. The Charlie Who Cafe will open in this renovated building as an artist cafe with coffee, light fare, and art displays. So it's a little small building that's very visible on the corner by the waterfront, and it will now have a very lively place for people to go. The Peekskill Brewery on South Water Street on the right will transform its temporary outdoor space into a permanently operating 4-season outdoor dining and entertainment venue. So that popular location will be open year-round now. Early Electrics on North Water Street will complete the authentic restoration of this historic building and improve energy efficiency by replacing 27 upper floor windows, the roof, and the HVAC system. 101 South Division Street Partners owns the Flatiron Building on the right and will replace the upper floor windows with new historic windows to complete the exterior restoration of the building. They'll replace the water heater and install solar film on the storefront windows. The Terra Dulce Bakery will erect an outdoor pergola, planter boxes, and tables for outdoor dining to enliven this section of Main Street. That's right in front of the James Street garage on Main Street. On the right, you may recognize Hudson Valley Gateway Chamber of Commerce. They'll replace its modern storefront with an original historic design, add new signage and lighting, and improve the lobby area to enhance the visitor experience. Local artist Larry D'Amico will construct an outdoor artist display area, workspace, and sculpture garden on South Street, and will install solar panels on the roof for the studio's energy efficiency. And there are, I think, 3, 4, 5 studios in that building. It's not just a single artist. There's numerous artists in that building. On the right, Whiskey River will construct an attractive patio with landscaping at the rear of the building for outdoor dining. They'll install new windows in the rear of the building and replace the roof. And that's very visible from Main Street, opposite the Birdsall House. So there'll be a nice outdoor patio and garden there. All the projects that I just mentioned are the transformative project, public and private projects that are happening in Peekskill's, with Peekskill's $10 million DRI grant. So in a little while, Matt Rudikoff will describe there are a few additional DRI projects that he's managing, and you'll hear about them in a minute. So moving on to updates of private development projects that have either been approved or are under construction. So these examples demonstrate that at least 650 quality residential units in all price ranges will be added to Peekskill's diverse housing stock within the next year. So projects are under construction, and I'm sure you've seen them around town. And it actually adds up to about 650 units, so that's pretty good. This map shows the location of 10 potential projects that are currently under review by the city. If these are approved, these could add another 700 residential units scattered throughout the city in various price ranges throughout the town. Other noteworthy initiatives include the recent adoption of zoning regulations for cannabis retail dispensaries. Entrepreneurs can apply for a special permit of the Common Council and site plan approval from the Planning Commission, and that will be all conditioned on receiving a state license, which is starting up now. If you know of anyone who has found a potential dispensary location in Peekskill, they should contact the Planning Department so we can get an idea of who has locations. The city is very excited to receive a $100,000 grant to begin the preparation of a comprehensive plan. The initial steps are being taken by staff in anticipation of a consultant being hired, and that will be once the state funding contract is executed later this year. So we're all looking forward to that. It's been a long time in coming to do a comp plan, and finally the state has made available funding for that. It's been not available for quite a while now. So with that, I'll introduce Matt Rudikoff, and he'll describe a few additional DRI projects and the city's projects on other economic development initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Jean, for sharing with us the various quality of life measures, municipal operations practices, downtown redevelopment initiatives, and private development. Those measures and development focus lead right into an economic development discussion of Peekskill's upward trajectory with city quality of life attributes, new economic activity creating projects, and the very exciting DRI marketing, branding, and social media project that some of you may have heard about. That social media destination marketing strategy is very excited to incorporate some recently acquired data on geolocational activity, and in fact reflects that the downtown has very good foot traffic, which is a very, very positive thing for potential new businesses. The drawing power of the quality of life and Peekskill's good downtown foot traffic are really the driver of economic development and social opportunities to existing residents, businesses, visitors, new businesses, and new residents. I was at an economic development conference yesterday, and one of the speakers talked about public safety being really one of the cornerstones of economic development, and it was very encouraging to see the safety focus on the city's practices as contributing to that idea and that feel for the city. The slide that's up before you now is Esther Street, which is as it appears on most warm evenings. It's a pretty cool place to be, and it's 100 feet from the Paramount, and it's a block and a half from the Civic Plaza that Jean was talking about being the new Civic Hub. And it's also in the community of Restaurant Row and coffee houses. And what's really incredible about it is that within an 8 or 10 minute walk, there's about 600 homes. So you can imagine what it's like to be living in those homes and have the opportunity to be just walking downtown and having a very full urban village cultural and recreational experience, and then walking home. It's an extremely positive attribute. And it's really just symptomatic of the emphasis on economic development. In fact, City Manager Matt Alexander and I have a weekly meeting where we go over all the economic development things that are pending. In addition to the marketing and branding component of the DRI, there's also a wayfinding signage component of the DRI, and that's to design, fabricate, and install a whole new series of project wayfinding signs which will orient people on bicycle or driving from the city entry points into the major points of interest. These signs are going to be tied to branding and theme design and graphics that are developed during the marketing and branding work, and really should be integrated and be a very exciting, eye-opening municipal asset that we're really looking forward to get going. These DRI projects, I just wanted to do a shout out. You know, early when we were first developing the DRI application, which was before my time, the Chamber and the Business Improvement District were very, very involved in putting together the information and the objectives and some of the strategies that were going to be used in making this DRI program successful. Getting the DRI $10 million grant is the very height of proactiveness, of a city being proactive and taking measures specifically to address and improve the kinds of things that would encourage growth and development. The economic and health of a place is directly related to increasing the likelihood of new businesses, establishments, social opportunities, new visitors, economic activity, all of which contribute to creating the kind of life and health that we're looking to have. But new businesses do not have to come from outside the city. New businesses can be spawned from within the city. And again, the city being extremely proactive with the Peekskill Facilities Development Corporation applied for and received a $2.4 million grant from the U.S. Economic Development Administration. The firehouse is located, Centennial Firehouse is located at 701 Washington Street, and it will be 5 commercially licensed kitchens available at reasonable rates for startup food entrepreneurs who will also receive supportive business startup and business growth services. Another shout out, I just want to thank Jonathan Zamora, who, when I was first starting in the city, had already had ideas for this building and it being an incubator, and whose input at the beginning of this process was extremely, extremely helpful. The Peekskill Firehouse Kitchen Incubator, planned to open in 2024, is funded as infrastructure. It's not a sewer plant, it's not a water line, but nevertheless the U.S. government recognizes the kitchen incubator as infrastructure because of it being an engine, a food engine, which churns out and produces new businesses. Those businesses that get started have an incredible job creation impact because they stay, when they're successful, they stay alive and they continue to operate and on into the future, on past when they've left the incubator, and when they leave the incubator, new food entrepreneurs come into the incubator and start the cycle again. That's a stock photo of what a kitchen incubator can look like. There was an inspection tour of a food incubator in Long Island City by members of the council and the PFDC who went to see how it operated and to interview the person running that incubator, which is now involved in planning our incubator. Continuing the proactive approach to economic development, Peekskill got another grant, a $2.4 million grant, to establish a 12,000 square foot supermarket known as Cosmos Fresh in repurposed abandoned buildings, which was the objective of that grant program. It's at 630 Washington Street. You'll see in the slide on the left, in the image on the left, that the location is surrounded by probably 200 or 300 homes. So having a good neighborhood retail market within walking distance, particularly with the survey results of everybody wanting walkability to be increased, is a very, very positive attribute. We have, fortunately, this project sponsor of this project is the current owners and operators of La Placita Market on Park Street, who also own a series of other restaurants, and Menarve's family, Wilson Sr. and Ashley, are here this morning, and we thank them for their commitment and their investment in Peekskill. It's a very important thing for us, so thank you everyone. The idea of the food hub starts to come together for us when we see the numbers that Matthew talked about in terms of the number of food establishments, like over 100 food establishments with significant revenues, $38 million per year in revenues. So food has become really an element of our economy, a strong element of our economy. And it's that capacity and the blossoming array of culturally diverse offerings, other new restaurants, prepared food venues such as the Laundry, which I'll talk about, as well as Signal Fire Bakery and many, many others, is really a core growth area of the city. Most recently, the Laundry at 922 Main Street in the Artist Loft building was the focus of a CBS Morning News audience. I mean, a huge audience saw Peekskill and saw the Laundry. And founder Azareus Bellamy highlighted her pastries, which are, take it from me, I'm an expert, sinfully delicious. And explained on air to hundreds of thousands or millions of people why she chose Peekskill. And it was very, very impressive and very, very powerful. I have to say I had nothing to do with getting the Laundry here, but Mayor McKenzie most definitely did, and that's the council really playing a proactive role. So let's go full circle on this food thing. Yeah, a farm. Well, again, proactively, the city 2 years ago leased a 15,000 square foot piece of land, city owned, right in between Leaport Park on Main Street and the Oakside School, to the Ecological Citizens Project, whose founder, Jason Angel, also said hello to us this morning. And the farm is really incredible. And food has been provided to Bowman Tower residents, to school families, to food shares, and it's a very, very powerful thing. I wanted to say, one time in the first year of the farm, I was there, chit-chatting with people, as I always do, and I asked a couple of the people who were working on the farm, so how's this farm thing working out for you? What do you think about it? And one of the guys, an older guy, maybe a 19 or 20-year-old, said to me, man, are you kidding me? First of all, I'm learning the skill where I can have a job, so I can work at this job. Secondly, I'm also being taught the business of farming. So if I'm in a position financially where I can lease land or get land, I can start a business. I can be a farming business. And then he said, on a serious note, and if things really get bad, I know how to grow food to feed my family. So to me, that's really economic development, the triple bottom line, and we're very excited about all these measures, and we're happy to talk about it. And thank you all for that. And with that, I want to turn it over to questions. And Matt.
Yeah. We're definitely going to let Matthew take over with some questions, but I just thought it was a great time to say and repeat, with every wheel turning at the same time, Peekskill is going to do great things, and I would like to acknowledge all the hard work. I'm inspired to do this because of this presentation from city staff, and if I could have all of city staff who's present here with us today stand up. That's you too, Kathy Montaldo. Okay, so with that being said, thank you to the staff and to the managers who've done such a great job with Peekskill, and all of the volunteers for Peekskill. Matthew, do you want to stand up and lead us through the questions?
Are there any questions? Please.
Yep, one here. Could you just speak to a moment? Thank you. Could you speak a moment about the military banner display that you're promoting, I think beginning in Memorial Day through Labor Day for veterans that might be interested?
Good morning. Hi, I'm Deputy Mayor Patricia Riley, and the City of Peekskill has started the Military Tributes Banner Program. If you go on militarytributebanner.org and you research, you go into New York State and you look at Peekskill, you can go on and get your military banner for your loved one. I believe the cost is $187. You have, I think it's April 12th deadline of this year to get a banner for your loved one. And it will go up for Memorial Day. It'll stay up from Memorial Day through Veterans Day, and then it'll come down for the winter. Do you have any other questions?
I've already signed up, but thank you.
Okay, so anybody here, you can, if it's for anybody in active duty today, people that served, my grandfather was in World War I. I got a banner for him. So it can go as far back as you want it to go, or for people that are serving today, and it's a great tribute. And I want to just, while I'm up here, shout out to our DPW for hanging those banners. They were terrific. They took them down before we started getting, well, we had a pretty mild winter, but before one storm hit, they took them down, and they'll be going up again for Memorial Day. So you can contact our city clerk. If you have any other questions, you can shoot me an email at priley@cityofpeekskill.com. I'll be happy to answer anything. But Peekskill is really in the patriotic spirit, and we want as many banners flying, honoring all our people in our military service. So thank you.
Please, other questions?
Yes. I don't have a question, but I have to say I am so impressed. First of all, look at this incredible turnout. So that's number one. Secondly, I mean, you have elected officials from lots of municipalities here. I shout out to all of you. Jason Angel is an elected official up in Phillipstown, and I'm so impressed that he's doing all this great work here in Peekskill. But just Matt and Jean, I mean, this holistic approach to governing, where you're really working with the community, and of course, mayor and the city council, you guys are doing a phenomenal job, and I see you all the time. And oh my God, you are very shy, apparently, about all of the incredible work that you're doing, because this presentation was so phenomenal. I'm blown away, and I want to go back to being town supervisor so I can do all this in Ossining. Thank you so much. Anybody else?
Well, I'll always have something else to say. Want to thank the Chamber for allowing us to host this breakfast on an annual basis here in our new firehouse, and it really gives us the opportunity to share what we're doing, because whenever I have the microphone, I always like to say that when you look at a historic map, you can see Peekskill as the center of the northern Westchester region, and we still are the urban focal point, or the urban core of that northern Westchester region, and how the core goes affects the health of the whole area. So thank you very much to the Chamber for that, and for our involvement in that, and for your focus on the city in your work. So thank you. And please, other questions about departments or other projects, or thank you for coming. Yes?
Len Simon from Croton. Matthew, thank you for the presentation. I just want to say we're about to commence a process very similar to this, and a very smart guy that I once knew said there are no new ideas in city government. They're just good ideas that you steal from someone else. So I just wanted to thank you for all of these good ideas as we start our process with as much, and we'll be back to steal some more.
So real quickly, I'd just like to thank you all for coming. As you can see, there's a lot going on in the city of Peekskill. We appreciate all you and all that you do, because it's not just about us, it's about each and every one of you and how we make our city flourish. So thank you so very much for this opportunity, and I'll turn it back over to the Chamber.